Hi, everyone. Dr. Gina Pritchard here, and this is an uncharacteristically casual video that I'm doing because I didn't want to wait one more day to make some important points about aging, about longevity, and about what's been going on in my life. Crazy how life throws some things at you from time to time that you didn't see coming, and it's crazy how a lot of times it just aligns in a most unusual way. Let me tell you what I'm talking about. First of all, I'm here at my mother-in-law's home, so it's quite bland and the lighting isn't that great. But what I have to say is so important. I don't care. I'm on here casual to tell you some important things I've recently learned. Number one, I was asked by my dear friend, Dr. Melissa Peterson, to speak at the RAADfest, which is put on by the Coalition for Radical Life Extension, and RAD stands for Revolution Against Aging and Death. This conference, it's the first time I have been. I just got back from there recently, and fantastic conference. Highly recommended. I'll be going again in 2025. I hope I get asked to speak again in 2025, but either way, I'll be there. It's a great conference. And there is so much happening in the world of rejuvenation, of age reversal. Truly, we have the technology and the clinical expertise and the therapies available to us today to live at least to 120, very vibrantly healthy. That I believe to be true. But I was asked, as I said, by Dr. Melissa Peterson to speak a while back, very excited about it. And I put together my talk, which was natural heart health hacks, because if we're going to live to 80 and 90 and 100 and beyond, even 70 for some people, we have to avoid the top killers, of which cardiovascular disease, heart attack, stroke, diabetes, dementia, which is certainly what I see in my practice every week. And every week help patients stabilize and reverse cardiovascular disease, stabilize and reverse diabetes, and avoid heart attack, stroke, diabetes, and vascular related dementia. It's what I do. I love it. And there is so much we can do. And these diseases are reversible. We do not have to have a heart attack or stroke or diabetes in our future. That's indeed a fact. And I will just say, while I'm on the topic, that even the American Heart Association says that most heart attacks and strokes are preventable, and somewhere in the category of 80%. And in my practice, it's much higher than that are avoidable. Again, the technologies and the therapies and the lifestyle recommendations that we know are the most impactful. All of that's very powerful. But in order for us to avoid these diseases and live vibrantly healthy to our last breath, I started my talk talking about we have to, people talk about finding your why, but even beyond that, I find that fear is not a great motivator. It might be a short-term motivator because patients will call when they get out of the hospital sometimes very afraid of having had an experience like they've just experienced again, a hospital visit, near-death experience, or procedures and pain. So of course they're fear that it's going to happen again, and they don't want to go through that again. But our memory on that pain and that fear is short-lived. And a lot of times, 6 months, a year, 2, 3 years or more later, they are right back to unhealthy lifestyle and totally forgotten about the fact that we need to stay focused on our health and on anti-aging and on reversing and stabilizing these disease processes so that they don't impact our life. So we have to really find our reason why we want to live that long or why we want to avoid these diseases. What would be fun about it? What would really jazz us up? Because we do things really because we want something more so than we avoid it, or we do something because we're fearful of something. So I started with talking about what are the things in life that bring you the most bliss. Bliss has several definitions, but I think of it as unprecedented happiness or unprecedented joy or unprecedented peace, something that gives you great bliss. And I hope each and every one of you find bliss on a daily basis, ideally 24/7 on a daily basis. But what are the fun activities or the most important things in life that bring you great joy, great peace, great happiness, great bliss, if you will? We all have our own list, and I have several things on my list. But what if we could truly plan now, whether we take our last blissful breath at 70, 80, 90, 100, 120, 130, 140, whenever we take that last breath, what if it is blissful while we're enjoying one of our favorite activities? So right now we need to think about what are our favorite activities and focus on those and really do very little else except our favorite activities and the things we have to do, and focus on our health. I know I have new motivation now after the recent experiences that I've had of why I want to live healthy and not go down the path of heart attack, stroke, diabetes, or dementia, or any other chronic disease, decline in my health than I even had 2 to 4 weeks ago. And one of those is the impact that it has on our ability to make a difference in this world. So what are the things that have been happening in my life that bring me to this video tonight? Several months ago, I started creating content for a course and an online private social network community that I had been envisioning to impact everyone's life, anyone who is interested in a lean, strong, healthy body and living vibrantly healthy for a very long time. Let's get back to the basics and strategies of how to easily enjoy a healthy lifestyle on a daily basis. And there's a lot more to it, but we're starting with the basics. And it really came out of several patients and friends and acquaintances and colleagues that would keep coming up. When are you going to do another online group again? When are you going to focus on eating healthy again? I need to reboot. I need to get rid of this 10 pounds I've gained, or story after story. And I'm like, I need it for myself. And also, as you know, from following on my YouTube channel, probably, I've changed some things myself. I did hardcore carnivore for a long time, and I still do what I call a carnivore cadence, primarily carnivore, but there are times when I choose to add in other things. And all of that will be like, what is right for you will be the focus of the content. And initially, it will start with what I heard a new way to refer to it from Edie Rather, one of the dynamic speakers at RAADfest. Thanks to Dr. Peterson for having her there. Edie is in her 80s, but she just got back from a skiing trip in Japan, flew from the East Coast to the West Coast like it was no big deal to speak to us in a most dynamic way. And her talk was about mind over age. And I love so much of what she says, but we'll start with envisioning, much like I was just talking about, what do we want age 90 to look like? What do we want our last day to look like? How old do we want to be when that happens? Just like if we were going on a trip, where are we going? How are we going to get there? Let's plan for it. And that's how we need to look at the rest of our life and make it a blissful journey the whole way there, starting with our mind and our thoughts and our goals, etc., strategies. And then we're going to heavily focus on diet, nutrition, what are we going to eat, and what's going to work for you. I have some choices. Not everyone has to do carnivore, and no one has to do any certain kind of diet, but I have categories, and you can select what's going to work for you, what's going to work for you now, between now and the end of the year, because I'm calling this the Lean Body Longevity Blueprint, the holiday edition, because it will start soon in September and go through the end of the year. My goal for everyone is by the end of the year, or the beginning of 2025, we can say, number one, I gained no weight during the holidays, because a lot of people have been saying, uh-oh, this is the holiday season. I'm usually put on 5 or 10 pounds before the beginning of the next year. And wouldn't it be wonderful if you have some weight you want to lose, or some muscle you want to build, or some changes you want in your body, if you could make those happen even during the holidays and enjoy the holidays as well? It's definitely possible. So this will be rapid weight loss if that's what you need, rapid body change for sure, in a most healthy way that's going to help us get, in my case, to 120 and beyond, blissfully happy, doing something fun on my last day. So this is the holiday edition, and I started creating this. This is my whole point. What are the 3 things that have been occurring in my life? So while I've been struggling with why haven't I gotten this launched, and I just couldn't quite get everything pulled together, and then I would want to add one more thing, and then I would hear something else, and I would keep changing. I just need to pull the trigger on this and start it, because the holidays are going to be here soon. And this is the holiday edition. And then I got invited to speak at this RAADfest. And so I started preparing for that talk, which changed some of the content as well. And even the things I learned this weekend, I'm adding into our content as well. And then the third thing is my mother-in-law, who is 93 and has experienced seizures and dementia for several years. And she just gets worse every year. That's an entirely different story about her journey. But here we are. Myself and my daughter are her only caregivers, if you will, or people to ensure that her needs are taken care of. But she was in an assisted living memory care facility, which was fantastic. And we were in the process of needing to move her from that facility to another one. But the new facility is not quite completed yet. It's under construction, should be ready soon. And so in this interim, I'm taking care of her with the help of a dear friend who has helped me out tremendously, and my daughter. And between the three of us, it's a lot. And so I am living 24/7 this experience that I'm just talking to you about, the experience that none of us want in our future. We don't want it for ourselves, and we certainly don't want our children to have to take care of us in this way. And we don't want to have to spend all the money that we have to spend to take care of the last 5, 10, 20, 30 years of life for a lot of people who are, in that drop off the cliff, getting worse every day, but they stay alive, living and breathing with a poor quality of life that lasts anywhere from 1 to 20, in some cases 30 years of life. When we first started noticing that my mother-in-law was not going to be able to live alone, this was somewhere between 2015 and 2018, but she could still call us on the phone, answer the phone, and feed herself. And if we kept things in the fridge, she would eat, and she loved her home, wanted to stay in her home. Anyway, to make a long story short, that became less so. And it became very clear that she could not live in her own home and take care of herself and those kind of things. My husband passed away. And so then my daughter and I rose to the occasion. Now, fast forward to 2024, and now that she's back in her home, she doesn't even remember living here, doesn't recognize this as her home, and does not know where she is, and most days does not know who I am. Even if it's just on FaceTime, recognizes my daughter, her granddaughter, or seems to. Other than that, she has very little recollection of the reality around her, and even really can't carry on a conversation about much of anything. She will say sentences and ask questions, and none of it really makes sense. So it's sad. And she's an interesting combination of, she has been physically very strong all of her life and continues to be very active for someone in her mental state, but she does get weaker. I've seen it in the last 2 to 3 weeks that we've been together. And that's what they were telling me at the assisted living. I would notice that when I would go visit. Weaker and more confused pretty rapidly now. Anyway, the reason I'm telling you all of this is to say, isn't it ironic, and isn't, I'm sure, divinely orchestrated, that as I've been preparing this lean body, longevity, blueprint content, that then I was exposed to all of this new community at the RAADfest, even refined my thoughts on the whole process in preparing for a presentation. And then now I'm living in the horrors, if you will, of someone who's experiencing a loved one that's experiencing what we all are absolutely wanting to avoid. So it makes it much easier on a daily basis to make great choices, because that is not bliss. It's anything but bliss for the individual and anything but bliss for the caregivers and the family members. And not that it's the most important thing, but it's incredibly important to note that it's very expensive also to care for someone in that situation. It's expensive in terms of physical energy and in emotional energy and brain power and orchestrating everything, particularly if someone such as myself is also still in a stage in life when I own a business and am growing the business and am starting new aspects to the business and have an important purpose in my life and impact that I want to make, while also trying to juggle the care of, a dear loved one that's struggling at end of life. And then financially, it's expensive in this country, because at least in the investigations that I've undergone to try to find where is the best care for my mother-in-law, anything that's covered by her insurance is pretty dismal. it's not acceptable to me, and it wouldn't be acceptable to her. I'm not saying that's everyone's experience, but that's been ours. So anyway, if you have been in this situation, share in the comments and let's help each other and support each other. And certainly whether you join Lean Body Longevity Blueprint or not, I'm sure this will be a recurring topic on my YouTube channel, as it's very real and very raw for me right now. Okay, so there's that. And like, for example, I would never want my daughter to put her life on hold, whether she's 27 as she is now, or whether she's 63 as I am now. I would not want her to have to set aside the impact she wanted to make or what she wanted to do for her important things in her life, or important people in her life, to take care of me, or to make more money to take care of me, or to anything. I want our time together to be fully intact and to be full of fun and adventures and shopping and all the things that we enjoy doing together, cooking together. And she's a much better chef, if you will, than I am. And so I'm sure she'll be in Lean Body Blueprint some, because she's had a transformation of her own physical health, and because she has much better content to deliver in terms of her grocery store haul and the bargains she's found in the delicious dishes she makes. As you'll see as we go along, I usually live by myself, except for now when I'm taking care of my mother-in-law, and I don't keep much food in the house. I cook very simply, and I don't bring it into the house unless it's something I want to eat. And I know that's not everyone's experience. And so we need to make this applicable for everyone. So who is the Lean Body Longevity Blueprint for? It's for any adult that's interested in having a lean, strong, healthy body, vibrantly healthy, enjoying everything they want to enjoy, doing everything they want to do in life for a very long time. And of course, I have men and women in mind that are over 40, because a lot of times they think that it's just more difficult to lose weight, or it's just more difficult to build muscle, or they can't fill in the blank, whatever it is. And that's just not true. There are healthy ways to live your life that are also enjoyable. You can have that dream body, and you can have vibrant health, and you can live a very long time. So you can really focus on doing the things you want to do, your blissful moments. So that's the long story, but I wanted to share it with you because this Lean Body Longevity Blueprint creation that I started several months ago has really taken on a life of its own, and I haven't even officially launched it yet, but I'm getting ready to. And I wanted to get on anyway and talk about my excitement around the longevity conference and around what I've been going through. So start thinking about what brings you great bliss, what are your most favorite activities, and start thinking about if you could be vibrantly healthy and have your dream body that was lean and fit, strong, and could enjoy your food. Start thinking about, what do you love and what do you really not like? In other words, as I said, I did carnivore for a while, and I've grown to love that. I really have. I love the simplicity of it, and I love the way I feel when I'm 100% carnivore. That isn't for everyone. There are people that won't eat meat, that don't eat meat, that don't like meat. And you don't have to go carnivore, but we all have to get off these toxic foods, the processed foods, and it's a slow poison and a number one contributor to poor metabolic health, poor cardiometabolic health, and all of the things we talked about previously that we don't want. So we're going to have fun, and we're going to band together and support each other and grow this social network so that we can all live to see at least 120 and do something blissful together. So that's an update on my life. First casual video, maybe that I've ever done, but certainly that I've done in a long time. But I just didn't want to keep delaying. And my mother-in-law was in bed, so I had a moment. And I love you all very much. And whether I know you yet or not, and I look forward to meeting those of you that I haven't met and getting together again with those of you that I do know. And let's get healthier together and live out our dream life, accomplishing all that we want to accomplish with the vibrant health to do it. I'll see you soon, and I love you. Good night.